Hey everybody, welcome to Barbecue Nation. I'm JT, along with Barbecue Hall of Famer, co-host, co-pilot, and radio wife Leanne Whippen, coming to you from our respective studios in Portland and Tampa. Going to be a fun show today. Meathead from AmazingRibs.com. Notice I took out the gold one this time because you gave me so much hell last time about it. Okay,
just plain old.
It only took 10 shows.
Yeah, it did. We want to thank the folks at Painted Hills Natural Beef for supporting this show forever and ever. Go to paintedhillsbeef.com. We've got, like I said, Meathead from AmazingRibs.com and with us today. And we're going to do a few fun things today. We're going to be talking about spring, things to cook and grill and smoke. And we're also going to be talking about Father's Day because that's coming up when this show airs about a week later. And so we've got all kinds of fun things to talk about. And I've got a couple of abstract questions for you. Go figure, coming from me. But Meathead, welcome back, buddy.
Good to be here as always.
So we got springtime here, and we've got pollens in the air. That's for sure. I can verify that every morning. But we've also got lots of fun things. The vegetables and the fruits are starting to come. More fruit a little later on, but the veggies are popping up. You've got things that you can grow yourself. You don't have to go to the grocery store to do it. I don't know about Chicago. It's a little early for tomatoes here, probably.
Oh, you know what's coming up here?
What's that?
Cicadas.
Oh, yes.
Have either of you got them?
We don't have them yet.
No.
Yeah. Millions, bazillions. You go outside and all you hear is a din. It sounds
creepy.
Like it is weird. It's kind of like a horror movie or something.
Yeah.
They're very strange little creatures.
Have you smoked any of them yet?
They
crunchy,
say
I think.
their skin is chitin, the same as shrimp, and they say they're edible, and people actually do cook them. I have refrained, but they say that if you have a shrimp or a crab allergy, don't eat cicadas because they have some of the same compounds that cause shrimp allergies. So how about that?
Huh.
That's interesting.
I didn't know. Did you ever eat chocolate-covered ants or grasshoppers when you were a kid?
Grasshoppers. Somebody handed me a chocolate-covered grasshopper once. Didn't tell me what it was. It was nice, crunchy. I kind of liked it, but
yeah,
I was kind of surprised. This guy also once poured me a glass of peach shampoo and told me it was a German Trockenbeerenauslese, which is a very peachy smelling, sweet white wine.
Oh, okay.
And it got real close to my lips before I balked.
I just remember eating the chocolate covered grasshoppers. I thought they were like the texture of Rice Krispies almost. They were real crunchy. I remember like that. Okay, so now that you got the cicadas out of the way and know you're not going to cook them or smoke them, I think that's a thing that people get started this time of year. They're not like us. They're normal people. So they break out their barbecues in May. You've got Memorial Day, which just happened. You've got Father's Day, 4th of July, all that kind of technically official start of barbecue season and all that. But
Mother's
I think
Day was May 12th.
Mother's Day was May 12th. That's right.
You ever throw a mignon for Mama?
I kind of think sometimes people overlook grilling or smoking fruits and vegetables. They want to get the burger out there. They want to get the broth. They want to get the chicken, whatever it is.
About the meat.
Yeah, it's all about the meat. But
hey, everything is better on the grill, even vegetables. My last book, there's a really good recipe for eggplant parmesan. Now, it's too early for eggplants this year, but we actually grilled the tomatoes for the tomato sauce, grilled the eggplants, smoked the cheese. It's fantastic too. And you don't fry it, so there's much fewer calories involved. But springtime is asparagus season, and I think asparagus really shines on the grill. You boil it and it just kind of flabby. It smells like canned asparagus, and I don't care for it boiled at all or steamed. But I'll take asparagus and I'll get a wooden skewer and I'll skewer about 10 of them. So I use 2 skewers actually.
Mm-hmm.
So you have like a raft, and give them a very light coat of oil, some salt. I use a rub that is herb based. In fact, it's my poultry rub, and sprinkle all that on and throw it on the grill. Now, the thing is you got to watch out because the tips are flowers and there's a lot of air in there and they're thinner. They can burn. Now, a little char on an asparagus is good, and I don't mind a little char on the tip, but you got to watch them. And if they start to burn, you just got to scoot them so that the tips are off the flame or out of the way of the flame. You can even hang them over the edge of the grill. But you don't want to immolate the tips of the asparagus.
So
And they're mighty good.
So if you're using bamboo or wooden skewers, do you soak them first?
No, it's no need to. In fact, I've actually done side-by-side tests.
Okay.
First of all, bamboo doesn't absorb water.
That's true.
You know, I mean, they build boats out of wood for a reason. Bamboo doesn't absorb water. It gets wet on the surface. I've done it where I soak the bamboo overnight, take one without, put them both on the grill. They both, you know, the wet one took a few minutes longer to burn, but it burned just like the dry
Sure.
one.
Yeah. I gave up soaking them years ago because I just.
Well, I like that you make the asparagus raft because I like to top mine last minute with like Parmesan Reggiano, and so it'll hold it. The raft will hold it.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I won't put the parm on while it's on the grill. I'll take it off, take them off the skewers, and then just, you know, grate some Parmesan Reggiano on it and a few drizzles of the best balsamic I can afford. And boy, I'll tell you, that is just marvelous. And it goes with burgers if you want. It goes with just about anything. You know, there's a rumor that's been going around for years that the thick asparagus is inferior to the skinny asparagus. The issue there is it can get a little woody down at the base. So when you get your asparagus, you want to snap off the bottom 1 inch or chop it off with a knife. And if it's still a little woody, you can just shave it with a carrot peeler. And underneath, it's just as tender and juicy as the little skinny ones. But you need to get rid of some of that woody surface.
I guess I love grilled asparagus, but my mom used to boil it like you were talking. I always make fun of my mom because I have vivid childhood memories. Loved her to death, and she was a great cook, but there was just something I guess maybe her mother, grandmother, somebody did it that way, so she did it that way. But I couldn't. It took me a long time to learn to like asparagus. I was out of college, and that's when I really started grilling and barbecuing and smoking and stuff. And a friend of mine came over, brought some asparagus. We cut the woody part off the end. We put it on the grill, and I thought, now this isn't half bad. You know, it was pretty good. But I couldn't on the stuff that was cooked at home when I was a kid. If you picked it up, it just bent over like a noodle. You know, it was so soggy. So here's a question for you. I told you about some abstract questions coming up today. Do you eat your asparagus with a fork, or do you pick it up and eat it stalk by stalk? If you're outside, not at a formal dinner, but if you're around the house and out having fun.
Yeah, I tend to pick it up with my fingers. Often I will start with the fork just to look civilized, but I often resort to just finger. It's perfectly good finger food.
Leanne?
I pick it up and apologize. I'm so sorry, but
I don't even bother with the apologies anymore. I just pick it up and eat it. It's very good. Have you ever made a dipping sauce for asparagus?
I don't think I've made a dip. I just don't feel like it needs it. I suppose a remoulade or something would be good, but I don't know. I just like it naked.
Oh, well,
me too.
Okay. All right. Moving on then. Got a couple minutes before we need to go to break. The other thing that I think is coming up. Again, the fruits aren't quite here yet, but you can get certain melons and stuff that come up from on our side of the country. They come up from the Imperial Valley in Mexico, so you can get watermelons and
Already,
cantaloupes.
wow.
Yeah. And I love to grill that stuff. I love just to put it on the grill. I really don't do anything to it. I just grill it. And if you have a big slice of watermelon round, just cut it in half or quarters so people can put it on their plates or a side plate, whatever they want to do. But I love that.
There are also a trick.
I like. Mhm.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I like, my dad always did this. He would always have a fresh piece of lime and squeeze it on his cantaloupe. And I always thought that was delicious.
Really?
There's a trick that we should mention for cooking your fruits and vegetables on the grill, and that is make sure your grill grates are really clean. And both sides, top and bottom. You don't want meat grease on your asparagus or your watermelon. And you don't want the smoke from meat grease, which is what happens to the stuff underneath the grill grate. You get the grease builds up underneath and you get these droplets and they burn, they smoke. A lot of people, they come out in the spring, the first time they fire up their grill in a while, and they see smoke belching out of there and they just, wow, fantastic, I'm smoking. Grease smoke doesn't taste as good as wood smoke, and you don't want it. So you need to clean both top and bottom of the grates, and do not put them in your dishwasher while you'll be sleeping on the couch for a long time. Do not put them in. That stuff is tar, and it'll be all over the inside of the dishwasher. You'll never get it off.
I've actually done that.
I take them out on my lawn and I hit them with the power washer.
Yep.
But I use the side lawn, not the backyard, because the one time I did it in the backyard, the dog started rolling in it.
Yep. Been through it.
Bet you were popular. We're going to take a break. We're going to be back with Meathead from AmazingRibs.com, Leanne and myself here on The Nation, and we're going to talk more about getting into summer grilling, barbecuing, and smoking, and Father's Day right after this. Please stay with us. Welcome back to The Nation. I'm JT along with Leanne Whippen and Meathead from Amazing Ribs, two Hall of Famers. I know Meathead was just on about 3 weeks ago, but we'd kind of gotten off schedule because we have him on prior to every holiday. So we're getting back to that schedule, and I like it. You were talking about cleaning the grills and stuff. I do the same thing. I take them down. I've got a rickety ass old shed down on the north side of my property, and I've got a special nail on. It's an old wooden wall. I don't care if it gets dirty or stained, and I just hang them up there and hit them with the pressure washer for a couple minutes, and like that. I used to take them to the car wash. You do it yourself car wash with the pressure.
Yeah, that's a good technique.
Yeah, and they don't care because they get all kinds of stuff in their drains. So you can do that if you don't have a place to do it yourself. The other thing I wanted to talk about is we got Father's Day coming up, and there's all kinds of gifts. There's all kinds of, barbecue has exploded so much in the last 10, 15 years, but especially since COVID. The stores are just ruck-chuck full of seasonings and tools and grills and whatever you want is readily available out there. But I wanted to get both of your takes on what's a basic kitchen tool set look like for the weekend warrior. If you're looking for something for dad,
definitely an instant read thermometer.
Yeah, that's first place to start.
Yeah.
And they're not much money.
No, we have an electrical engineer who freelances for us, and he tests our thermometers. We have two special devices that he uses to measure how quickly they get to a steady reading and how accurate they are. And then he's an engineer. He looks at the construction, the build, And he maintains a database on our website, AmazingRibs.com, where you can find several hundred thermometers tested, rated, and reviewed by an electrical engineer. And he has identified a couple of them in the $20 range that are really pretty darn good for instant read. Everybody's favorite is the Thermopop, which is around $30 now, from ThermoWorks, a really great thermometer company. But you don't have to spend a lot of money to get a really good instant read thermometer, and there is nothing that will improve your cooking faster than a good instant read thermometer. And if Dad has one already, take a look and see if he has a good digital oven thermometer. Now they make them with like a cable. It's a probe that sits inside the grill or the smoker, or your indoor oven. I mean, you will be shocked at how far off accurate your indoor oven is, by the way. And you just put this probe in there next to where the meat sits, so it can feel the same temperature that the meat is feeling. And of course, cooking is all about temperature control. So that's absolutely the place to start if you're shopping for Dad, the good thermometers. We were talking about cleaning the grill grates earlier. I've recently come across a cool new product called Grill Rescue. Have either of you seen this? It's a big heavy duty plastic handle with like a sponge attached to it. But the sponge is a waterproof type aramid material, and it's wrapped in the stuff they make fire hoses out of. And so basically it's like a sponge. You get it so saturated with water, you get your grill hot, and then you scrub it with this water, which immediately steams. And once it steams, it loosens a lot of the grease and carbon that's on your grill grates. And it's really good. Really works great. It's my new favorite grill cleaner.
You know the smiley sponges that everybody gets?
Yeah.
With the smiles. He came out with a very similar cleaning item. I was on a show and he brought it out and cleaned my grill afterwards. And I don't know the name of it, but it has a heavy duty handle, and it steams it. You do it right when it's hot, and it's fantastic.
Yeah. Very impressed with it. This company is called Rescue, I think. He used to be a fireman.
Ah, yes. You got a price tag on that, roughly?
In the 30s, I think. And you can buy replacement pads. But I've been using they get filthy instantly. They immediately turn black. But they keep cleaning, self-cleaning.
What about I'm all for not taking like a spatula out of the kitchen. Because again, you might end up sleeping on the couch if you take, one of those and do dastardly things with it out on the grill. I tend to like a little longer flat on my spatulas for working on the grill, because you don't want to, if you got 4 rows of burger patties and you got to reach to the back, you don't want a little short bladed spatula, or you'll have no hair on your arms.
And longer handles too.
Yeah. Do you want a spatula, if you can get one, that's fairly stiff, because if you're going to make smash burgers, you're going to put a griddle on top of your gas grill, or if you have a standalone gas grill, you need a really sturdy spatula. And I happen to have a grinder in my basement for home repair tasks, and I ground the front edge of my spatula down, so it's like sharp as a knife now. And that's really good for getting underneath those smash burgers.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that. And like Leanne said, longer handle. The one thing, and this is my personal thing here, you see a lot of kits, if you will. They have long handles like Leanne was talking about, but sometimes they're not made of very good materials. You have to be kind of cautious of that. They look kind of cool, and maybe it matches the brand name of a specific grill or something like that. I tend to assemble Leanne's worked with me. I tend to assemble my own stuff. It's more restaurant quality than it is a brand name to match a certain type of grill. I'm not saying they're all bad, but I use it a lot more than the average person does, I'm sure. What do you do, Leanne?
For what now? For what item?
Yeah, I mean, do you go to the store and
Well, one of my big things commercial wise are tongs. All right. I hate the tongs that you get that are part of the sets that have like that circular, I like tongs that, have the clip on them so you can open and close them, and they aren't expensive. You can get them now on Amazon, but commercial tongs to me are really important.
Yes.
I don't know. For Father's Day, I think it'd be kind of fun to, coolers are really nice to use for resting your meat. A Yeti type cooler, which isn't cheap, but any type of cooler, but use that as like your basket, and then put all of your, your thermometer and your things, and put it in there and make like a gift basket. But I think one thing that's really overlooked are gloves. A lot of the gloves that people use are made out of cloth or material, and I really like a neoprene type glove that is slick and you can pick up meat and it's washable, and you don't burn your hands. So I think gloves, that's kind of something that's overlooked.
Okay, we got to take another break. We're going to pick up gloves with Meathead, see what he uses when we come back on Barbecue Nation. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Nation. I'm JT, along with Ms. Whippen and Mr. Meathead with us from AmazingRibs.com. We'd like to thank the folks again at Painted Hills Natural Beef, beef the way nature intended. And also, there you go, Leanne, that's your cue, pig powder.
Yes, best rub on the planet. And a lot of the competitors use it. I'm out of stock on the 24 ounces, but they'll be back in a couple weeks, and it's also on Amazon now.
Okay. I've used that stuff, and I believe that's it right behind your head, isn't it?
There might be a touch of that on there. I mean, it's like I'm crazed about your poultry seasoning. When you said that you put it on your vegetables, I was like, I haven't done that yet. I'm doing that.
Well, there look to be some meats behind you, and it looks like they have your pig powder.
Oh yeah.
I like to combine it on beef because it does have a little sweetness to it. So salt, pepper, garlic combined with the pig powder for beef is excellent too.
There you go. Did you score those New Yorks?
Yes. Yeah.
I like that. It looks cool. Mm-hmm. We were talking about gloves before we went to break, Meathead. I have, I'm spoiled because I get a lot of stuff like you guys do to try out. And so I've got all kinds of gloves, the neoprene ones, the leather ones, the cloth ones, like that. What do you like to use?
Yeah, I've got one of each too, maybe two of each. My all-around favorite are the leather ones. They're like welder's gloves. They got long sleeves, come almost to my elbow. They're like a deer skin. I don't know. They're fairly soft. First of all, I want a glove, not a mitt. I want finger articulation.
Right.
So mitts are out right off the top. I've never really gotten excited about. There are a bunch of new silicone ones out there, which are really easy to clean, but they're slippery. And when I pick up things, I don't want them falling on the floor. These leather welders type gloves, they're on Amazon, and several people manufacture them. Steve Reichlin has his name on a set.
Wait, you got to call him Steven.
Steven.
Yeah, we just had him on the show. It's Steven.
Steven,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Steven Reichlin. You can pick up charcoal in my glove and hold it in or a burning log and hold it. They're a little hard to clean because they're leather, but I do bring them inside and I just put them under the sink with some soap and scrub off all the surface grease. After a while, they get kind of dirty, but I use them. I like them.
Well, the one thing
you use food service gloves, also those little white cloth gloves that go under the food service gloves are really nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like a liner. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. One thing I like about the leather gloves is eventually they will contour to your hand. You know, the silicone gloves and those, they pretty much stay the same shape they always are. But the leather ones, and like you said, when you wash them, you've used them a lot, they get broken in, they're very comfortable, and they will tend to form to your hand outline. So that's a good thing too. So if you're listening to this so far, we've got a good spatula, a good thermometer, some great tongs. And I love what Leanne said, because you get those big long handled tongs. One, they don't close, they don't lock, but they've got that little cut out, looks like you're trying to pick up a small zucchini with it, and they've got kind of a serrated end of the tongue. Those are worthless as far as I'm concerned. So that's just me.
You know, there's another option too, and that is a product that I know we're all familiar with. There's a company called Grill Grate.
Yep.
And Grill Grate makes a replacement grate arrangement for your grill. Instead of wire strands that are connected at the ends, this is a flat metal plate with like railroad rails on it, and then holes drilled between the rails. So it's fairly solid, but those holes allow smoke to come up and meet the food. The rails make great grill marks if you're into grill marks. They're really good for asparagus. We're talking about, because asparagus loves to jump between the grates and commit suicide. And unless you build a raft like I talked about,
right,
grill grates are the best way to go. And the thing about grill grates is, now if you are visualizing a flat metal plate with railroad tracks on top, they make tongs which have fingers that slip between these railroad tracks so they can get underneath. And for fish, there's nothing better, because fish, you know, everybody who cooks fish knows how it loves to stick to the grates. So if you oil the fish or mayonnaise on the fish, which is very good, doesn't flavor it, but really good at helping it release, put them on the grill grates, you can get these fingers beneath them and it lifts them up like a forklift. Really great stuff.
You know what I've done with those grill grates is I've put them on my flat top, and it actually marks food too.
Sure, why not?
I like that. I like it. I never thought of that, but that's pretty cool.
Very versatile.
Yeah, and the other thing is, to kind of, I've said this before, you can go to Walmart and buy a dozen bar towels for like $8. And I don't know about you guys, but I've always got a stack of towels.
That really is something that's overlooked. That is a necessity. Yeah.
Yeah. And for $8 to $10, you know, they get too dirty, greasy, throw them away. Go get some more.
Don't throw them in the laundry with the clothes.
No,
because once again, you'll be sleeping on the couch.
Yeah. And don't try to clean the grate with the bar towel and then put it in the dishwasher. You're not going to save your ass doing that either. I can tell you that from my own personal history, like that. But I wanted to talk about seasonings. We've talked about pig powder. We've talked about Meathead's rubs there. Basics, you know, salt, pepper, garlic. Yeah, you're going to have that. You can buy mixtures of that pre-done if you like it like that.
I think everyone should have some Maldon salt, you know, Maldon salt to put on your sliced steak right when it comes off the grill.
Yeah.
That's a simple thing a lot of people don't think about.
Yeah, I think that's perfect. Do you prefer, like I said, a salt, pepper, garlic mix individually? Do you like to use a pepper grinder? I don't. That's just me. I don't like to put those big flakes of pepper like on a really, you know, a $45 ribeye or something like that. I like it to be a little lighter.
Restaurant ground black pepper. I feel like you can disperse it more evenly.
Yes.
You know, pepper grinders, like, you know, to put on top of something, you know, like your Caesar salad or whatever. But it's more controllable a restaurant, which is a larger ground.
There are a number of manufacturers now making adjustable grind pepper grinders. I think there's one by Kyocera. My wife brought home one the other day from OXO Good Grips. Of course, OXO
everything. They make everything.
Everything they touch is smart. There's some really.
I do have an electric pepper grinder that I'll use, and it is adjustable and it's simple.
Yeah. Yeah. So you want to watch out. A very fine grind especially if you're doing a very hot sear, can burn. But generally, pepper is immune. You don't have to worry about it. I like a medium grind. And in fact, I did something with my new book that I just turned in a couple of weeks ago.
Golf clap.
In all the recipes that involve ground pepper, I've specified fine grind, medium grind, coarse grind, because it makes a difference in flavor.
Yeah.
It's like salts, even true, with kosher salt, the brands have a different,
Yep. And recipe
size
writers who don't
grain,
tell
and it
you,
does make a difference in your measurements.
recipe writers who don't tell you what salt they're using, I think you're committing malpractice, because there's a different, they say kosher salt. There are two basic kosher salts, Diamond Crystal and Morton, and they're different. And
They are different.
If you use the same quantity of each, you will oversalt with Diamond Crystal, because it's a finer grain. We haven't really talked about this. Let's digress very briefly
Sure.
on salt here. But salt is all sodium chloride. And the size of the grain are the main differences between them. All salt is sea salt. All salt comes from the ocean. So, and in fact, this country has no law designating the term sea salt. So I could go out and buy Morton's table salt and pour it in a jar, relabel it and call it sea salt and be legal. And so you'll see sea salt on a lot of product labels. It could be any kind of salt. So sea salt usually is an excuse to raise the price. Now, the size of the grain is what determines the salinity, because if they're very small grains or flakes, they can lay on top of each other. There's less air in a tablespoon or a cupful. But large grain salts like Malden, there's a lot of air in there. So a teaspoon or a cup will be far less in salinity. And what's really cool is if you weigh the salt, all salts are identical. So if you're talking about an ounce or a gram of salt, all salts, no matter how big the grain, have the same salinity by weight, not by volume. So
that's interesting.
Yes. If a recipe calls for kosher salt, if you use all my recipes, I standardized on Morton's coarse kosher salt. Not because I've been paid. I've never met anyone at the organization, but I just felt like it's important to standardize on one salt. So all my recipes use Morton coarse kosher salt, except a few that call for Malden at the table side. Serving the salt, I like those big grains. It's like pretzel salt, on a steak or something at the table side. So we really need to impress on recipe writers. Tell us which salt you're using.
I think that's excellent advice there, because, and the other thing, you touched on it and we talked about it before, sea salt, all salt comes from the ocean. And I do get a kick out of the marketing aspect of really highly thought out labels on containers of salt and stuff saying, this is Himalayan sea salt, or this is black sea salt from Hawaii, or whatever it is still salt, pretty much.
Yeah. And if you were to taste them side by side, you might, if you're really good, see a slight difference in flavor. But when you mix it in with coleslaw or sprinkle it on a steak, there's just no way you can tell what kind of salt it is, whether it's the black salt from Hawaii or pink salt from the Himalayas. Actually, it's not the Himalayas; it's from Pakistan. So it just really doesn't make a big deal of difference. Just salt. And so I go for the Morton kosher salt because it has few add-ins or ingredients. But if you're insisting on salt that is, some manufacturers actually go out and scoop up ocean water, put it in a big pan, let the water evaporate until there's salt at the bottom. And they bottle that, and that's great. And it comes with whatever else was in the water, including fish poop, whatever.
Yep. Speaking of fish poop, we have got to take another break. We're a little long here, but David will forgive us. We'll be back here on The Nation with Meathead from AmazingRibs.com and Ms. Whippen live and direct from Florida today, and myself right after this. Don't go away. Welcome back to Barbecue Nation. By the way, you can check out our website, which is bbqnationjt.com. All the old shows are posted there, and of course, we're on all the platforms from Apple to everybody. Actually, there if you want to look at that. And also, you can go to AmazingRibs.com, and I would recommend, if you're serious about it, go there and join their Pitmasters Club. I haven't sent in my dues yet this year because I've been a little busy and I've forgotten. Maybe Meathead will give me that for Father's Day present. But
now you get bonus classes, right, Meathead?
Yeah.
Did we talk about the new videos that we added?
Yeah,
we did. We did.
Yeah, we
remarkable.
We bought a website called BBQstars.com and BBQstars.com, and it has 120 broadcast quality videos. They're really excellent tutorials from some really great barbecue cooks. Tuffy Stone, another Hall of Famer. Harry Sue, who's marvelous, especially with Asian flavors. Kent Rollins, the cowboy.
You can say it.
Chuck Wagon cook. The Chuck Wagon cook. They're just a whole bunch of really good cooks and chefs in here, and we've added that to the membership at no extra charge. It used to sell for $299.
That's a good Father's Day present, is a membership.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
Thank you for the plug. Yeah, you can give gifts. It's a $35 a year, and it includes all these new videos and a lot of cool stuff. There's some free magazines, preview looks at the book I'm working on, all kinds of good stuff in there.
Yeah, there's even some old Barbecue Nation shows in there, I think, or there was.
There are. There's
quite a few of them. We were talking about salt and that. The rest of the seasonings I would do is besides the basics and pig powder and some or all of Meathead's rubs and stuff there, but always have some granulated or powdered garlic on hand. I mean, just basic things that you would actually have in your kitchen pantry. But, you can do the same thing for your barbecue. If you do that, I think you have a pretty good start on things to do that.
It's not hard to make your own rubs. I mean, we have recipes for a bunch of rubs on our website that you can start with, and then one of them's got ginger in it. If you don't like ginger, take it out.
Yeah.
If you like ginger, add twice as much. You can start with our basic recipes, and a lot of competition teams whisper in my ear and say, "Hey, I won using your rub." So,
yeah. And if you are going to make your rub, here's another little gadget: get Dad a mortar and pestle. I have a couple of them. I'm sure Leanne has them. If you think something, or you're going to grind something up, maybe it's a little too coarse for what you're cooking, or you think it is.
A little coffee grinder too. A little coffee grinder, spice.
Yeah, the Crux coffee grinders are great.
Yeah.
You will get better flavor if you start with seeds and then grind them.
Right.
Just like peppercorns. You get a whole peppercorn, grind it, coriander. You grind the whole seeds, and you can get exactly the coarseness that you want and the fresher flavor, because most herbs and spices have oils in them that contribute heavily to their flavor, and oil oxidizes when exposed to oxygen. So if you take the whole grain seed and then grind it as you need it, you're putting off the oxidation.
Also with dried herbs, like even rosemary, thyme, whatever, I always rub it between my fingers before I put it on, just to release those oils.
Yeah.
Crumble them up, rub them between your hands. I do that just because I like to smell my fingers
Oh,
afterwards.
well, with that,
Isn't there
I
a
was
Judy
gonna,
Collins song in there somewhere?
yeah, maybe AC/DC. I'm not sure. The one last thing too is we talked to a lot of people with books on the show. The book right over, if you're looking at this, the viewer screen left over Meathead's right shoulder there is his first book right there. That to me, that is a have to have in your
Oh.
arsenal of cookbooks and barbecue books. I don't know how many I have. I don't know how many Leanne has. We could start our own bookstore, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But and with your books, Meathead, not the one you've written, but stuff you've collected, I know we could start a bookstore. But
Those
I
are
would,
just the barbecue books that
yeah,
I'm showing.
Yeah, that's a lot.
yeah. You can't see mine because I've got a image there, but I've got them above my head, behind the wall, back in. There's a storage walk-in closet back there that's full of them, and then when you go back to my wife's office, there's 2 bookshelves full of them, and then I've got like 18 tubs full of them. I don't have enough shelf space.
Wow.
So
So
yeah,
since you were nice enough to plug them, I should add, I can add, I will add my little promo. And then it was called, Southern Living called it one of the 100 best cookbooks of all time. And that includes Julia and Jock and all the other great chefs of the world. Quite an honor to be on that list. It was a New York Times bestseller. It's sold 250,000 copies so far, which is something of a record. I think probably Stephen Reichlin's Barbecue Bible may be the only one that's outsold it. And his has been around 10 years longer than mine.
that is true. That I'm kind of familiar with those numbers, but you're approaching that mark fast. I can tell you that because it's standard. The one thing you won't see, and I'm not picking on anybody else here, if you go to a used bookstore, which I have a tendency to do that, or even to a Goodwill, you will not see Meathead's book in Goodwill.
Oh, is that right?
I have never seen one there. Other barbecue books, I've seen tons of them, but I have never
That's
seen
because they keep it. They
Yeah.
don't let it go. They keep it.
Well, there's too much good information in there. You
You
know,
guys
like
flatter me. Thank you.
I know, but you're a fun guy anyway. Okay, we got about a minute and a half left here, Meathead. Give us your Meathead tip of the week for cooking something for Dad for Father's Day. It can be cook anything you want. Just pull one out, a rabbit out. Oh, well, you don't want to cook the rabbit, but you know.
Well, I mean, it's not terribly original to say a great steak, but if you can afford to buy a USDA prime steak, instead of the standard grocery store USDA choice,
right,
you'll get a better flavor and more tender piece of meat. It's more expensive, but it is Dad's Day, and I'm guessing that most dads love a good steak, and if you can cook it properly, I think you'll make Dad very happy. You know what has and among steak lovers, the ribeye is generally the first one that they prefer.
right.
Right behind it, the strip steak. It's the same muscle. It just runs further down towards the hip areas where the strip steak comes. The ribeye comes from the rib section, but it's the same muscle, the
Right.
longissimus dorsi, and they're very, very nice pieces of meat. Lately, I got to share, if I have the time here, if you asked me my favorite steak now, I would answer Wagyu flank steak. Now, flank steak, anybody who loves beef loves flank steak because it's got a great flavor, but it can be tough. The Wagyu version, and that's a descendant of the Japanese cattle,
Right.
is highly marbled, and it is much more tender. And it is really easy to cook hot and fast, so you can get a nice dark crust. You cut it in 1/4-inch slices across the grain, so your crust is not a lot of the flavor, but you get that charry flavor on there. I just absolutely adore the stuff. And I've been using, now that we're plugging things here, my red meat rub
Yes.
on it. And for years, I used to tell people nothing but salt and pepper on steak. Don't monkey around with any rubs. This red meat rub has just taken my steak life to another level.
There you go. Leanne, 20 seconds, dear. What's something that you would cook for your son-in-law for Father's Day?
He'd probably grab it out of my hands because he likes to cook so much. But again, along this steak cat thing, but I doing the tomahawk because they're going to be impressed that you're giving them a big old tomahawk.
Yeah, that's true.
And they aren't going to really buy it for themselves, I don't think. So I'd go tomahawk.
Okay, all right. We got it.
And I occasionally run into people who don't know for sure what a tomahawk is. So if I may, it's a ribeye where the rib bone is the full rib, so it's like 2 feet long.
Yeah,
it's really
so
impressive.
You're paying for something you aren't eating, basically.
Yeah. But it's so cool
it's
because
nice
you can
handle.
pick it up and you hold it like a giant lollipop,
Yeah.
You got the tomahawk in one hand and the asparagus in the other, and just go for it. That's all I can say. What a Father's Day meal. We got to get out of here.
Third hand for the wine.
Yeah, that's a big long straw. Just use a straw on that. All right, Leanne, thank you. Meathead, thank you. Meathead sticking around for after hours. Until next week, go out, have a good time. Remember our motto here: turn it, don't burn it. Happy Father's Day, everybody.
Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day.
Hey everybody, welcome to After Hours here on Barbecue Nation. I'm JT, and this week we've got Meathead from AmazingRibs.com has rejoined us again, and of course, Ms. Whippen from the Tampa studios, and we appreciate you all listening and spending some time with us here. This is where we usually, I've got a set of standard questions, actually several sets of them that we usually ask, but today I was going to start out and see where it goes with this. Because somebody actually asked me a couple of these questions the other day, Meathead, and I thought it was kind of fun. All right.
Uh-oh.
Here we go. Which way do you cut your sandwich? Vertically, horizontally, or diagonally?
Yeah. The eternal Twitter question.
Yes.
Absolutely. I cut, and I'm known for this. I cut my sandwiches into quarters.
Okay. Is that so you have?
I do. All my sandwiches I cut into quarters.
I'm going to be just as goofy. I rarely cut them. I'll just pick up the whole bloody darn thing.
Oh, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. I
tried to cut my daughter's grilled cheese on a diagonal, and she wouldn't eat it because she's like, "What is that?" She didn't understand.
Speaking of grilled cheese, have you ever used a pizza cutter to cut a hot grilled cheese sandwich? It works great.
No, I never thought of that.
Yeah.
But I have done grilled cheese on the grill, and it's on my website. And it's really nice.
Yeah.
I mean, it's grilled cheese.
Yeah. No, I love it. And I just that was a couple of years ago. I was reaching in a drawer to get out a knife to cut it, and their pizza cutter was there, and I went, huh. Now zip.
So how do you cut your sandwich, Jeff?
Diagonally. When I used to make it to when I was little in school, my mother would cut it horizontally right in the middle. And so you had two halves like that. When I built this, I'm weirdo, I get it. But when I build my sandwiches like a BLT or something, I arrange the tomatoes and stuff. So when you cut it, they don't like get one little sliver on one side and a whole bunch on the other side. When you pick it up, it falls out. I try to.
That's why when I cut it into quarters, it's very tedious work.
Yeah. Well, it's like when we talked about this before. When I make a BLT, I don't put a whole strip of bacon on it. I break the bacon up, not to like bacon bits, but like quarters. A bacon strip, I'll break it in quarters and put it on there, because when you take a bite, chances are, if you haven't done that, you'll pull out a big hunk of bacon. Like there's a great picture of Meathead with, he's eating on a piece of brisket like that, but I don't think you want that with the bacon. So I do that, and it doesn't make as big a mess. There you go.
If you how do you like your bacon? Now let's define some terms.
Okay.
Well done is cooked through, a lot of the fat's rendered out, and it's crunchy. Medium rare, it's still flexible, but the meaty part, the pink part, has gotten kind of dark, and it's cooked through, you can tell, but it's still a little flexible. And then rare would be very flexible. The pink part remains pink. How do you like your bacon, starting with Leanne?
Medium rare. Medium rare.
Me too.
Me too. That's three of
Okay.
us. Yeah, it's
Yeah, I
unanimous.
like it to have some flex and a little bit of the
I do too.
fat still unrendered.
The other thing, go ahead.
I have been cooking my bacon. People will laugh, but I have tested in fact, I'm going to write about this. I've tested every which way to cook bacon, and my favorite is microwave.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because I can capture all of that dripping, all the bacon grease, which is, I mean, when you're cooking bacon, there are three products: the bacon, the aroma, and the grease.
Right.
And you cannot downplay the value of the aroma or the grease. And that bacon grease is just great for things like broccoli. Oh my. But I can save all that bacon grease when I do it in the microwave.
Yeah.
And when I do it in the microwave, I get a plate with curved sides and lay another plate on top, so it captures it doesn't spatter all over the place. And I don't want to put paper towels under it because I want to capture all the bacon fat.
I have a rack, and you've probably seen them. It's got a bunch of slats in it. It's plastic. I have two of them, and you can line them up. They're just side by side. And depending on how much bacon you put in there is determined on, of course, how long it will take you to cook. So if you leave put in a piece of bacon, leave a couple open spaces, put in a piece of bacon, so on and so forth, that cooks rather rapidly, 3.5 minutes, 4 minutes. It's medium rare. The bacon grease is trapped in the bottom. You can use that. I like to make a lot of spinach salads with hot bacon grease or hot bacon dressing. I love that. And that's how I capture some of the grease for that, is when I'm doing it. But
have you got a good recipe for that spinach salad dressing?
Yeah, somewhere here. Usually I just do it out
of it. I'd love to see it. Because my wife is a master gardener, and she overwintered in the Chicago area her spinach. And she put a cloth over the top of the bed, but it made it through the winter. We've been eating homegrown spinach for weeks now.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Huh. I'll have to dig it up because I just do it by memory most of the time. But yeah, I'll find it and send it to you.
Yeah, I'd love to try it.
Works really good. It's got bacon, bacon grease,
well, the dressing is what I'm most interested in.
The what? I'm sorry?
Just the dressing. I mean,
yeah, it's got vinegar and sugar and bacon grease. That's basically it.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
And you just put it on there. And I will also chop up like a white onion and saute some of that in the grease, and that goes over the salad. And it's I could eat a bucket of that stuff.
Well, my wife has been bringing home some of the sweet Georgia onions. When do Walla Wallas come in?
July.
Okay.
So you're not that far, a month and a half now. And they're great. They're so sweet.
I've been eating spinach salad multiple times a week, and I like it with so I make an easy vinaigrette with garlic, lemon juice, olive oil, salt and pepper, fresh garlic. But I like putting hard cooked slivered egg on top with slivered red onion and bacon, and that vinaigrette on the spinach is just dynamite.
Oh yeah, that sounds delightful.
So good.
That just sounds delightful. Okay, so we figured out how you cut your sandwiches,
like your bacon,
and how you like your bacon. So, Leanne, your chef Leanne this morning, does it make a difference? This is something else somebody really asked me. Does it make a difference when you're whisking which direction you go, depending on which side of the equator you're on? I don't know how the hell they came up with that.
So I think I think it depends. I think it depends if you're a righty or a lefty.
Yeah.
Which one you have more power?
Yeah. Yeah.
I've seen chefs discuss with all seriousness whether it's better to whisk in a circle or back and forth.
Yeah.
I can't imagine there's a significant difference between going in circles left or right. I mean, what side of the equator are we on?
Yeah. I don't know where they came up with that, but I was like, I know just the guys, the team I'm going to ask about that.
I will say that when I'm whisking, if there's nothing that I need to break up that's substantial, I don't need to do the back and forth in the middle, but occasionally I will do that if I have something bigger to break up.
Yeah.
It just seems to go a little quicker for me.
Okay. All right. That was a tremendously important question, as you know. Meathead, you're a wine expert.
No.
And Leanne likes wine. And I know those two things for a fact. All right. What's the best wines to go with to put on the table for a barbecue? Now, let's say you're having a bit of a smorgasbord there. Maybe you got some steaks, you got some chicken, maybe you've got some grilled vegetables. What would you recommend?
Beer.
Red Zinfandel.
Beer. You like red?
No, I do red Zinfandel.
Well, I think it really varies. Now, if I'm doing a steak, absolutely red Zinfandel, a big bold red Zin. But if I'm doing something, well, during summer we do vegetable sandwiches, eggplant, zucchini, tomato, all on the grill, all on a piece of bread. I might go for something in a big white, fish, of course. So I apply similar rules as you might apply to any cooking method. You look for the dominant flavor. If you're doing ribs, and the dominant flavor when you do ribs usually is the barbecue sauce. Big, rich, sweet.
Yep.
I reach for something like a Prosecco or a Spumante because it's a little sweet and the bubbles are great. I mean, that's why I said beer. I'm not joking. I mean, I love beer. The bubbles are great for rinsing your palate after a sweet barbecue sauce. I mean, I think in general, especially if you've got a sweet barbecue sauce, beer is a great choice. Then it comes down to what kind of beer,
And what's yours favorite? Meathead.
Me?
What's your favorite beer?
I like amber ales and I like wheat beers. Those are my two favorite. I'm not an IPA fan. I don't like the bitter. I don't mind bitter flavors either. I just have never been an IPA fan, and I know that's all the rage. But amber ales and wheat beers. I buy Blue Moon a lot, which is a wheat beer with a slight citrusy undertone. So I'm easy.
Okay, Leanne, when you're laying out your fine dining on the bedspread at the hotel, and you're using a toilet paper roll,
you got to explain this. You can't just throw that out there.
Oh yeah. Well, first I want to find out what kind of beer she likes, if she even likes beer.
I actually like amber beers, like you said. It's not Dos Equis. It's I can't remember it, but I don't drink a lot of beer, so I'm not one to ask. But I do like Blue Moon with a slice of orange. That's nice.
Yeah.
Refreshing.
Well, we have that in the fridge here for when you come. It's there, where we stored stuff when we were shooting last year. So, yeah. Okay. Well, we got those pressing questions out of the way. So, in the barbecue world, we are seeing all kinds
of... you know what I should have said was Modelo.
Oh, there you go.
Remember the big Modella thing?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, boy. Uh, People will think, well, anyway, when I was in college, I loved PBR, Pabst Blue Ribbon. And it was cheap and we were in school and you didn't have much money or anything like that until one Friday night, I'd bought a short rack of PBR and I was on about my third one and I cracked it open. I took a big swig. Somebody had stuffed a cigar in the bottle.
Ew.
Because they
That's
washed the bottles, they'd
disgusting.
run them through that and they'd relabel them, and they used to do all that stuff. Now they just grind them up the glass and do it that way. But yeah, that kind of ruined my case, you might say, for PBR. I did get a free case of beer out of it though. So probably as a 20-year-old, that didn't bother me that much. But I do remember that.
I drank PBR in college a lot. One of the reasons is the PBR spokesperson had a handlebar mustache, and so did I. In college, I had a handlebar mustache. So that was my sort of, my symbol.
Did you wax it out on the side in the tips?
On occasion I did, yeah.
Yeah. We got to put you in a cowboy hat too and see how you look on that. The one thing we didn't talk about in the show, the regular show, as far as a Father's Day thing, there are tons of barbecue sauces out there. Tons. Everybody and their mother seems to be creating a barbecue sauce, and good for them. I'm not go for it. But and if you are familiar with barbecue at all and doing that, if you're going to sauce it while it's on the grill, just the last few minutes and try to do that. And Meathead covers that in his book. Leanne talks about that in her seminars. I prattle on about it when I'm doing stuff on TV. What are your favorite sauces? And you can name brand names or you can refrain from that. I don't care. But we're trying to lead people down a good path here. And
I
happens.
I just discovered something and I don't know if people know about it.
Okay.
What is that? That's Meathead sauce, of course.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at this little picture from my daughter because have you had Williamson Brothers barbecue sauce?
I
We got it at Publix, and I want to tell you, one of the best barbecue sauces that I've had, and it has I like a little vinegar in there, but it was just outstanding. That's like my new go-to, but I'm also a Gates fan. I love Gates barbecue sauce.
Yeah.
And when I want something kind of down and dirty, gritty, I love an Arthur Bryant sauce. So those are my three tops, along with Meatheads.
There you got to get that in there. Yep. There you go.
There it is. There it is.
So Meathead.
Did we lose his volume?
Meathead, can you talk?
Volume.
I'm sorry, I had to clear my throat earlier and I put myself on
You're
mute.
back.
You're back.
I'm sorry. I was on mute. I cleared my throat and I didn't want to hack in your ears and I left it on mute.
I thought maybe you were going to do the old Garrett Morris Saturday Night Live thing. He just said he was on mute.
I was saying, aside from my sauce, I like the mustard sauces. South Carolina mustard sauces. The Bessingers have a really good one. They're sweetened so that they're around the same sweetness as the Reds Kansas City style sauces, but they're really good on pulled pork, and I really like them on pulled pork.
I like them on chicken too. I like them on chicken.
Yes, and I put it on pork chops also.
Yeah.
And hot dogs and sausages.
I gotta give a shout out to Burnt Figure Barbecue because they just won at the Royal for the second time, and their barbecue sauce is it's all that. It's great. So I got to give a shout out to that.
Okay. Very good. Very, very good. I think that's going to wrap it up for us. It's a short after hours. Normally we prattle on for about 40 minutes, and David looks at me and goes, "What the hell do you guys even talk about?" But because Father's Day is coming up and we want to make it as enjoyable as possible. So, Meathead, thank you. Ms. Leanne, thank you.
Always fun to hang with you guys.
Yes, thank you.
I know. And don't forget, you can go to pigpowder.com and get pig powder from
Yes.
Leanne. You can go to,
Mhm.
excuse me, amazingribs.com, and you can see Meathead's rubs, sauces, books, the whole thing. And
we'll send you to Amazon for them. We don't sell anything.
Okay. Do you have a link that takes it to the Amazon page?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then they're good. They're all good. So
Amazon.
Yeah. Thank you for listening. And guys, thanks for being on the show again. Have a great Father's Day, everybody. And remember
Well,
our
happy
motto.
Father's Day to you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Happy Father's Day to you both.
Thank you. Remember our motto, turn it, don't burn it. Take care, everybody.